Hey guys, welcome to Let's Unravel, and I'm your friend Christina. So, whatever phone you have, whether an iPhone or maybe you're one of those Android users, yes, I'm looking at you. Now, let's say you couldn't have whatever phone you had. What phone are you going to? Are you going to a dumb phone? Are you going to a flip phone? If you're an iPhone user, are you going to the other side? Are you going to Androids? Now, I know this sounds like a lot of slander, but I'm an iPhone user, so obviously I'm a little biased. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and I'll let you know my thoughts at the end of this episode. So thanks for stopping by, whether you're a new listener or friend of the show. I just wanted to say welcome. Guys, we made it. We made it through February. It is officially March. Hallelujah. That's all I gotta say. Now that we are in March, I have just one question. Who is doing March Madness? I am doing March Madness. I plan to make a bracket. Do I plan to win March Madness? You know what? You never know. It's anyone's games. You can pick a bracket based on talent, or you could pick a bracket based on colors. Now, for any of our international listeners that don't know what March Madness is you create a bracket. It's all of these college basketball teams, and it's really anybody's game because, you know, college basketball, it's all these wild card teams. And so you pay, I don't know, everybody has their own little March Madness community brackets. And so the bracket that I enter, we pay $5 for a bracket. Whoever wins takes home the cash prize. Have I come very close to winning in past years? Yes, I have. Have I lost every year? Yes, I have. So this year, do I plan to redeem myself? I hope to. I really hope to. But you know what? Sometimes it's just fun to watch other people lose too. Like I lose, but like I see my sister lose. It makes me kind of happy too. I'm like, hey, we lose together. Anyways, if you happen to be watching or listening on YouTube, make sure you're pressing that thumbs up button on this episode. Really helps get this video out there. And make sure you are pressing that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. We release new episodes every single Thursday. And guys, I have another interview on the horizons. We will be recording that very soon and then releasing that sometime after it's recorded. Anyways, but have a lot of exciting new things coming your way. So make sure you're pressing that subscribe or follow button wherever you might listen to stay up to date on all new episodes. We are streaming on a variety of platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. You can also join our Let's Unravel community via Facebook at Let's Unravel Podcast, or you can join through other social media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok at Let's Unravel Pod. We're going to be having more exciting things over there. Right now, we have short clips of the show, which people are having a great time commenting and talking all about, which last week we talked about spring and how excited we were for spring. Let me know if there's anyone else out there excited for spring, and what is it that you're excited for spring? Is it the weather? Is it the fashion? I want to know your thoughts. I think I'm looking forward to being able to not have to wear a winter coat. Personally, I'm not against winter coats. I'm just excited I won't have to think about a winter coat, you know? Anyways, I'm winning this week just because I get to talk to all of you. It's honestly one of my favorite things. I love getting to talk to you guys. And we've been bringing more and more pop culture into our episodes, which I love pop culture. I mean, I think you guys like pop culture too. Why don't you drop some comments down below? Tell me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Or tell me what topics you want me to talk about. There's a lot of things I'd love to talk about. But if there's anything specific you want to hear, drop some comments down below. I'd love to indulge whatever your curiosities are, unless you want me to talk about something completely unhinged. But you know what? I don't know. Maybe I would. Never say never, guys. Never say never. Anyways, so our topic this week, guys, it's the first week of March. We are talking a pop culture report, our pop culture report for February. So, February was a cold month with lots of snow, or at least it was in like Connecticut, New England area. Besides all of the snow, February, the month of love, not just because of Valentine's Day, but because it gave us the series Love Story, the story of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. And let's not forget, they gave us the documentary all about America's Next Top Model. And did I mention Lizzie McGuire dropped an album? And by Lizzie McGuire, I mean Hilary Duff. I'm so sorry. They are one and the same to me. Anyways, we have too much to discuss, so let's chat. So without any further ado, let's talk about Reality Check, the documentary inside America's Next Top Model. Now, I do have to give a little bit of a disclaimer. I never watched America's Next Top Model. Did I know who Tyra Banks was? Absolutely. I kind of don't think you could have grown up in the early 2000s and not known who Tyra Banks was. Now, where I knew Tyra Banks was, now you guys might laugh, I knew her from the movie Life Size with Lindsay Lohan, like that Disney Channel movie. That is how I knew her. Did I watch the reboot of like Life Size 2 that came out in 2018? No, I didn't, because Lindsay Lohan wasn't in it. But anyways, I also knew Tyra Banks from her guest appearance in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those were like my two favorite things that she was in. Now, of course, she's done all different kinds of things. And she even had her own talk show, which I loosely remember. But I didn't realize her talk show ran for like 5 years. That's crazy. Anyways, but back to America's Next Top Model. Now, if you don't know what America's Next Top Model is, America's Next Top Model was a reality competition series created and hosted by Tyra Banks, in which aspiring models competed in photo shoots, runway challenges, and fashion campaigns for a chance to win a modeling contract and launch their careers. Blending high fashion ambition with dramatic eliminations and memorable catchphrases, the show became a defining pop culture phenomenon of the 2000s. Now, if I had happened to see America's Next Top Model, it would have been like really brief, short clips, because it would have been like if my sister happened to be watching it. But like I said, I really don't think I never really sat and watched a full episode through and through. Now, of course, I like to know what the drama is because I'm obsessed with pop culture. So, of course, I watched this documentary. And as someone who has never watched a full episode of America's Next Top Model, this was a shocking documentary for me. Like, personally, like, I've watched a bunch of different documentaries, and like, I think the last shocking documentary I watched, it was the one on HBO about like the Nickelodeon shows, and it did the whole reveal of like all the child actors and with Drake Bell and everything like that. I can't remember the name of that documentary, but I remember watching that, and like I had seen most of the shows that they had talked about, whether it was like Drake and Josh, whether it was all that. There was a couple different instances where they showed shows, and so that hit really close to home because I had grown up watching those shows. It was so weird to watch this documentary about America's Next Top Model. Now, of course, I knew who Tyra Banks was, so that made sense. But to see some of these other individuals involved with this project, so like if you know America's Next Top Model, you would have known about some of the judges that were also in this documentary. So one of the judges happened to be Nigel Baker. He was a judge, and his background was in like photography. He was a supermodel photographer, all these different things. Then you had Miss J. He was like the runway coach. He taught all the girls how to walk the runway. He was also a judge. And then you had Mr. J, who was the creative director, and like he would introduce the challenges, and sometimes he would judge, and all these different things. So this was my first look at seeing Nigel, Miss J, and Mr. J, or, you know, I think they refer to them as the J's. But like, so that was my first impression of them. But I have to say, going through and hearing about the history of America's Next Top Model, I was really impressed with Tyra Banks. Just to see that it's like she created this show, she created a phenomenon, and on top of it, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact she was a supermodel, you know, and a woman. And it's one of these instances of where I like how the director or whoever the guy was that she brought this idea to, he was like, oh, I figured this was just a vanity project. Like, she's not going to really help. And then he goes, meets her, and it's like, oh, wow. Like, no, she really knows what she's doing. She really knows what she's talking about. And I'm like, how sad is it that that's the stereotype, that it's like, oh, well, she's pretty, so like she can't have that much going on. Like, that's just so unnerving. Personally, it's just so unnerving. But then you get into the series, and now you're hearing all about the contestants, which that is the thing about reality TV show, is it's like they're real people. So it's like you're hearing real stories, and a lot of them have really hard backgrounds, and they're doing everything they can. And the most devastating part was to hear how some of the contestants, whether they won, and I know there was at least one contestant where she won, and she goes, like, I didn't even get half of the opportunities that other supermodels would have gotten. Why? Because she did America's Next Top Model. Like, they thought winning this show would give them a leg up, when really it's like it cut their legs off from underneath them. So it's like they were just equipped through all of this training, but because of doing the reality show, they were like almost like mishandled. Like, they just didn't get any opportunities that they thought they would have gotten just because they had won the show. But I also really kind of get it, because it was kind of like what American Idol used to be, where it was like, I remember growing up and everyone I knew watched American Idol. Like, I was in like the first grade, I think, when it first came out, and everyone talked about American Idol. That was the show that you watched. But then I remember when people started to leave American Idol, and it was like, oh, well, like, you're not really a singer. Like, you weren't really considered a something. Like, it was just like, reality, like TV. Whereas nowadays, reality TV has gotten a whole different spin. People want to do reality TV, which it's kind of like hysterical when you think about it. Whereas in the past, it was kind of like, ooh, you're on reality TV? Like, ooh, poo poo. Whereas nowadays, it's so different. And so going back to really Tyra Banks, I mean, she was a mastermind. She was a mastermind behind this. Even when you are watching these interviews with her, she even says, she goes, I got really good at the edit. Like, she knew what to say. But then that is where it became so problematic. So they would find out the stories of these girls where it was like, oh, my mom OD'd. One girl, it's like, she's like, yeah, my mom got shot in the head. And then they would start to make all of these photo shoots basically as some of these girls' worst nightmare. And so later in the seasons, they did like, I mean, trigger warning. So spoiler, trigger warning, all of these things. It's like this show bred so much chaos, or for a lack of better words, it was so problematic because of the body image issues. I mean, the way they would critique girls was crazy. And then to hear the way Tyra wanted this show to go, the point of this show was to open up doors, help other women further other women along. And really, I'm like, Tyra, I think you like just passed on trauma to more people and you did it for just like the average girl. I don't really know if you really open the door as much as you think you opened the door. And so that is one of those instances where I think it's just crazy. And I love the way like TikTok has come in and they're like, America's Next Top Model has aged like milk, which that's a great like visual for this instance. So my takeaway from like this whole documentary was obviously looking at Tyra Banks. Kudos to her. She really built something ahead of its time as far as this competition-based show of like America's Next Top Model. Like she did that. Phenomenal idea. In the early seasons, just based on the documentary, it's like, so many of these seasons were so problematic. Even the way they had some girls, they would make them do like dental surgery, whether removing gaps in their teeth, whether removing extra teeth. Some girls still have dental issues because of some of the things they did. So honestly, you can't even say, some of these seasons were really good. They really like messed up so many of these girls' lives. But it's one of those instances where it's like kind of wanting to give like Tyra Banks kudos for having built something so successful, but really she caused so much damage. And then the craziest part of all of this is she brings in like these panel of judges. So like I said, we're talking about Nigel Baker, we're talking about Miss J, Mr. J, and like she brought them in from the get-go. And so these were like the people, and this show ran. So this show didn't just run for X amount of seasons. They actually called their seasons cycles, and they would do 2 cycles within a year. So the show ended up running from 2003 to 2018, accumulating 24 cycles. So basically a cycle was just 2 to 3 months of the contestants living in a house. So it was like roughly 8 weeks. It wasn't like a typical like Grey's Anatomy where they would start airing episodes in like September and go all the way to June. Now, the funniest thing is within the documentary, Tyra Banks hints at a cycle 25 coming back. Now, let's just put it this way. I don't think you should be resurrecting this show just based on the documentary alone. And then let's talk about some of the drama. Like I said, going back to these judges, we're going back to Nigel and the Jays, where they brought these judges in from the get-go. And then you find out somewhere within the show's run, as it's like any show, it gets super popular, it gets super famous, and then eventually, ratings drop off at some point in time because not all shows are going to stand the test of time. Like, it's just reality. It's the cycle of life. So basically, Tyra Banks gets to the point in the documentary where she's just like, the higher up executives are coming in and they're saying there's no sacred cows. And so they're like, we need to get rid of, and that's when they named Nigel, Miss J, and Mr. J. And so what's funny about this documentary, unless you know the tea or you don't know, the judges found out they were getting let go and they thought it was going to be like a mutual press release where they're parting their own ways, but they could work on whatever. And then obviously like TMZ or Page 6 comes in and they're like, they got fired. Tyra Banks fired her judges and whatever. Okay, but this is where it gets good, is in their interviews for this documentary, none of them have talked to Tyra Banks since they were let go. So as much as Tyra Banks is kind of like, no, like kind of like there's no bad blood, which, okay, going back to Tyra Banks, someone like her, she has worked in the modeling industry, she's been an actress, she's done all these things. This girl, she knows how to play the game. Even when they bring up at one point in time, they're like, do you want to talk about your relationship with Mr. J? He was the creative director one. And she's like, you know what? I think that's a conversation me and Jay should be having and not something that should be done through the documentary. And that was her answer. There was no pushing, no pressing, nothing. It just totally got like let go. And like I said, I never even watched America's Next Top Model, but I'm like, I've watched this documentary. I'm invested. You need to talk about Mr. J. Like, you need to talk about whatever this dynamic is going on. You made this a reality TV show. You made this our business. You threw it in the papers. And now it's kind of like, I just don't think we can. But this just goes back to, once again, I don't know if I love it or if I hate it. But once again, Tyra Banks, she knows how to play the game. And honestly, respect. Like, mad respect to that. The fact that she can play the game, she holds herself together very, very well. The fact even during this whole America's Next Top Model, she had about 24 cycles, seasons, whatever. The fact she only had one explosive reaction to one of these contestants, which like they talk about front and center and all these things, and I can't remember who the model was. Tyra Banks full on screams at this contestant, and apparently they really like cleaned up whatever she ended up saying to her, because like the judges, Nigel, Mr. J, they were like, we can't even repeat the things Tyra Banks said to that girl because it was so unhinged. But basically, all I'm saying is Tyra Banks, she has herself very well put together. She has a lot of people that are very upset with her, even like the contestants. Like you see so many of these contestants, these poor contestants who are like, we were so young when we did the show. They had no clue. They felt like they were taken advantage of. Now, obviously, at some point in time, you're kind of like, okay, but you're a grown up, which yes, that is true. But it's also like, you think about the day and age of when this show was filmed. Reality TV was so new. It wasn't like what we know now about reality TV. Like I think about shows like Love is Blind. I've loved watching Love is Blind, but then when you start to hear some of the contestants come out and say how hard and horrible the filming conditions are, I'm like, oh my God, like that's not what they're portraying on TV. They're making it seem as though it's like such a nice area, but it's like, what is reality TV? You have producers. They are producing, they are creating a storyline. They're most likely trying to get you to drink. They're trying to compromise you in any possible way. And America's Next Top Model was no different. But like I said, the idea, the concept of the show, great. The execution of it, really, really rough. And that is a nice way of saying it. But to hear some of the traumatic stories and to see the way they would create photo shoots to be some of the girls' worst nightmares, cruel. That is just cruel and unthinkable torture. And then to find out these models most likely couldn't even get jobs because of doing the show, that's absolutely horrible. But the only last thing that I'm going to say about that topic is I want an American Idol documentary, like a real honest to God American Idol documentary. Like, I want to know what it was like in those early seasons, because even Kelly Clarkson has alluded that it was like, oh no, it was like a boot camp. Like, it was hardcore. It was hard. It wasn't like fun, easy, or whatever. I want a real American Idol documentary, and I don't want to just see the winners. I want to know where like the other contestants are that didn't win, that aren't as popular. What is going on with them? That's what I actually want to know. I want to know what happened to the host back in like season 1 and season 2, because there used to be 2 hosts. It used to be Ryan Seacrest and another guy, and then he got booted. So like, what's his name? Where did he go? What is he doing now? Is he still in Hollywood? I have questions I need someone to answer. Now, moving on to our next show. We did a whole episode last week all about Love Story, the FX series about JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. And you know what? We got to do an update because they dropped a new episode, episode 5, Battery Park. You know, this episode felt a little invasive for my taste to think like, okay, this is the thing that really blows my mind. These are real people. Like, this was real people with their real conversations, and to watch the exchange of it in like, to some degree, it's like, well, what part of it is real and what part of it isn't real? All I have to say is if I was Carolyn and I found out that I missed breakfast because I had to sign up and my significant other didn't tell me I needed to sign up, there, like, we would have so many problems. So many problems. But in all fairness, I don't know if I would, like, when Carolyn's standing in the doorway and she's looking at Ethel and she goes, can I bother you for a cup of coffee? I don't think I would have had, I honest to God would not have had the nerve to even ask that. Not because she's Ethel. I couldn't do that to someone's grandma personally. Like, I think I'd be looking at one of the younger girls and being like, where is the coffee pot? How do I make a cup of coffee? Like, I could never just look at someone's grandma, or I don't know. And like, I don't know if that says something a lot about me, but that, like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And then on top of it, I'm like, oh dear God, like Ethel, she is really trying to come across as being intimidating. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, that episode just felt a little invasive for my taste. It didn't feel as romantic as all the other episodes. It just felt like the bubble has been burst. Anyways, but I can't wait to see how they're going to do like the wedding episode. That will be really interesting. And the amount of people posting on TikTok about, I found this really cool shop where it's like accessories Carolyn Bessette used to go for her hair, or this is where JFK Jr. would go. The funny part is when you post videos like that and you say like, it's super affordable. When you post a video like that online in New York City, you know people are going to go there, and whatever was affordable will not be affordable anymore. It won't be. I'm telling you that right now. It's so funny. I've been seeing people posting things like within Connecticut, like, oh, this really cool coffee shop, or oh, this cute little store. And in my mind, I'm like, no, stop giving the secrets away. Like, those are great spots. Like, there's a cute little like farm shop store like I go to frequently. And somebody made a whole video about how they're like, oh my goodness, they have so many good this, that, and the other. And I'm like, can nothing be sacred? Like, that's my thing. I'm like, I don't need all these people being influenced to come to this little hole in the wall farm shop that like a a local town spot. Now you're going to be having all these people driving all over the state of Connecticut coming here, and they're going to find out exactly what I know. It's amazing and affordable. I don't need you coming and hijacking the prices, you know? Just my thought. Anyways, if you wanted more of a deep dive into Love Story, check out last week's episode. I will have it linked in the show notes down below. Now, another favorite show of mine, The Rookie, okay? The Rookie, it's a show. It follows John Nolan. He is a man in his 40s who becomes the oldest rookie at the Los Angeles Police Department. He's navigating challenges of law enforcement while proving himself to younger colleagues. The series blends action, crime solving, and personal drama, exploring themes of perseverance, growth, and second chances. So that is just the premise of the show. I love this show. It's on like season 8 right now. And all I have to say, I've told you in previous episodes, I love Lucy. That is, well, not the show, I Love Lucy, but the character. I love the character Lucy. She is, I think she's my favorite. She's my favorite character throughout the whole series. I would say a close second would be Nyla Harper. But anyways, Lucy, all I have to say is I am getting concerned at the way people are posting things on like Instagram and TikTok. If they kill off Lucy, I am going to have a problem with this show. I don't think I would watch this show anymore. And also, I have heard or I've seen like press releases of where they're saying they're going to have budget cuts for this show. So that means like some of your favorite characters might not be in season 9 or they might not have as much screen time. And all I got to say is, let's get rid of the dead weight, and that is the character Bailey. We don't need Bailey, and unfortunately, that means getting rid of Jenna Dewan, and I'm going to be honest, I could care less about Jenna Dewan, like, especially in The Rookie. Like, I've seen her in other things. Okay, you know what? Like, Step Up. Fantastic in Step Up. I like Jenna Dewan in Step Up the movie. And then I've seen her in even, like, other shows. She did, like, a Netflix show at one point in time. Can't even remember the name. But she did a Netflix show at one point in time. I thought she was pretty good in that. The Rookie, I don't think The Rookie is her show. You know, I mean, hey, she's collecting a paycheck. Good for her. But like, if there's budget cuts and it's down to her or Lucy, I say we get rid of Bailey. We don't need Bailey. Nope. And John Nolan was so much better off with so many other characters. And they just totally like settled with Bailey. I'm sorry. And then on top of it, I don't find her character that interesting. She's good at everything. Not that I need her to be bad at things, but like, I want her to be interesting. There were so many other more interesting characters on the show. And then they either wrote them off or they killed them off. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. But anyways, I do like The Rookie. And I will say The Rookie is one of those shows where I genuinely like most, if not all of the characters. Like, I don't think there's a character right now that I'm kind of like, oh God, they're so annoying. Like, most of their characters have really good development. If anything, it's almost like, not that it's gotten boring. Like, honestly, it's like all the characters have like a happy coupling pairing. Like, there's no tension between them. Everyone's happy. And now I'm starting to realize why TV shows always have to have all this tension, because otherwise it gets too happy and you're just kind of like, what are we doing? But then again, they've been having a lot of like serious crimes they've had to, it's a crime show. Anyways, but they've been having some serious like crime, action, different things going on. So really interesting. But moving into music, or not even really music, but moving into Lizzie McGuire. And by Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff. So she released her new album, Luck, ... or something. So all I gotta say is this. The Disney roots are strong with Hilary. You are seeing that through her ticket sales just based on the grounds of this album. No one would care if this album was good. It's just because it's Hilary Duff's album. That's all that it takes. And I know that might sound a bit like crazy, but I'm just saying, like, let's put it this way. Hilary Duff is part of like most people's childhood because of Lizzie McGuire. So like when it's like, hey, I'm putting out an album, you know what? I don't even care if it's good. I'm just here for Hilary Duff. Like, let's just call it what it is. I'm here to support her. She is my Lizzie McGuire. She's not going to fail. That type of thing. Did I listen to this album? Absolutely. Because you know what? It's Hilary Duff. You got to do what you got to do. Now, I've never been a regular Hilary Duff listener before. I listened to this album. It is not my taste. Just going to call it like it is. It's not my taste. It's kind of weird to hear this album and some of the lyrics when in my mind, so much of her is like Lizzie McGuire, but I've also seen her in her other shows, like that show Younger. So I'm like, she has grown up in my mind. I don't know. Anyways, but I just have to say the dynamic between her and her husband is odd to me. And the reason why I think this is just more of his response to how she described an insecurity she had. And so like her insecurity, she was saying how she fears that like her husband, Matthew Como, will leave her for an indie songwriter. And it's his response that really, I'm like, that is such a weird way to respond. His response was so insane, but also very real. I'm trying to figure out if that was his version of like acknowledging her insecurity, and it's like, I'm validating you because that's insane, but you know what, it is true. you should be afraid I might leave you for an indie songwriter. Like, that is so crazy. Come on. He's got Hilary Duff. Like, I don't know. Like I said, their dynamic is kind of odd. That's all I'm going to say. But to keep talking about this album, what I do want to say, I love the album artwork. I just want to say, when people are putting out an album, I want your marketing to speak to me. She did a cute, like, nod to the Cinderella Story that she did, that movie with Chad Michael Murray. And so she did this scene where she's sitting and she's like got her, I'm going to call it a dumb phone. She's got her dumb phone where she's just doing like the texting, like tickets tomorrow. And that was to show that it's like, oh, ticket sales are going to be live tomorrow. And all I'm saying is I loved that. Like, even if I was buying a ticket or wasn't buying a ticket, I love that kind of marketing. And that is the kind of marketing I want to see. I think if you're going to put out an album, it should feel like an experience. Either like, I mean, it should definitely feel like an experience when you're listening to it. But even like the marketing, I mean, you could do so many things with marketing where it's like you get people so involved and so invested. I mean, if you want to look at the queen of like marketing, Taylor Swift, come on. I mean, the way she marketed her album Midnight, I was here for it. Like, I was really invested in the marketing of what she did for that album. And Hilary Duff, even when she does the cute little nod to like the ticket sales, even like when she did the Call Her Daddy interview and Alex Cooper did like a little nod to the Cinderella Story too with the promotion of it. Like, that is the kind of marketing we need. Even like Call Her Daddy, the way she does little promos for who her new guest is going to be, bravo, that is the marketing people want to see. That's all I'm going to say. And honestly, if your marketing is that good, is it okay for the album to suck? That's a question I have. Like, let me know. Is that a hot take? You tell me. Now, to continue talking about music and Disney roots, let's talk about the Hannah Montana clip that we were blessed with in February. Nobody saw that coming. We just got that sweet clip of Hannah Montana, like, you know, or her car pulling up. But if anything, we got the surprise of a lifetime with our Hannah Montana return. That was not on my 2026 bingo card. Do I have a 2026 bingo card? No. But if I was to have one, would that have been on it? No, it wouldn't have been on it. Anyways, but the 20th anniversary of Hannah Montana is coming up, and they're going to be streaming an interview of like Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, whatever, on March 24th, 2026. Is there a catch? Yes. Is it a glorified Call Her Daddy interview? Also, yes. Yes, it is. Because what's so funny is it's being marketed as a 20th anniversary special, but it's not including other castmates from the show. Like, you're not getting Mitchell Musso. We're not getting Emily Osment, Jason Earls, Moises Arias, or Billy Ray Cyrus. This is just Miley Cyrus. She might dress up as Hannah Montana. It's going to be in front of a live studio audience. And apparently she's bringing never before seen like footage and different things like that. But like, it's just an interview with Miley. So that's where sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I would really call this an anniversary special, because it's like Hannah Montana, as much as it was just Miley, I mean, you couldn't have Hannah Montana really without Billy Ray Cyrus or Emily Osment. They did it without Mitchell Musso for a while, but to have it without Emily Osment or Billy Ray Cyrus, it feels really weird. And you know Billy Ray Cyrus wasn't going to be involved just because of all the drama going on between father and daughter, most likely. But you know what? Am I going to tune in? Yes, I am. I'm just disappointed because this is not what I was expecting, is all I'm going to say. And on top of it, it's going to just feel like every other Call Her Daddy interview, you know? Anyways, so February, there was so many cool movies and TV shows that came out in the month of February, and I couldn't watch them all, but there's a few shows that are on my radar. So for example, Scrubs, they have gotten a reboot. I've never seen Scrubs. This is on my radar. I'm going to be watching this, and I will be giving you a report on how I like it at some point in time. Night Agent released its third season. I didn't realize we were on season 3. I am a full season behind, so I'm currently watching Night Agent season 2. Okay, I just have one thing to say. Brittany Snow. She is everywhere. I mean, like, I feel like I have seen more about Brittany Snow in this last year than like since the Pitch Perfect era of like all those movies. But like, it was so funny. I turned on season 2 of Night Agent and all of a sudden, boom, there's Brittany Snow. And I was like, didn't know she was in the show. Like, I don't know, kind of like surprised me. It shocked me. Anyways, but I can't wait to get to season 3. It looks like it could be very interesting is all I got to say. Anyways, but I heard Rose is not in season 3, and I'm quite devastated about that. But I did hear Gabriel Basso, he is Peter Sutherland in the series, say in an interview that he wasn't interested in having a new love interest outside of the character Rose. So I thought that was kind of interesting, just because how often do you hear other actors kind of like sticking up for their character, sticking up for another actor like that? I think that was really cool. So anyways, now obviously there's another new season of Paradise that's come out. I didn't watch the first season, but after seeing like like who's in the second season. And I mainly say that just because of Shailene Woodley, and I'm kind of want to see it for that. So I'm going to go back to that. But I did start watching Wonder Man. That's the new Marvel TV show. And that looks really good. So I will continue to keep you updated on what I think about those things. Now, the best part of the Pop Culture Report, in my opinion, is the lightning round, where we talk about a bunch of topics as quickly as I possibly can. Okay, so let's get into the lightning round. We have been talking about Call Her Daddy. Did you know there is a new memoir coming out called Daddy Issues, a memoir by Sophia Franklin? It's her side of the story of building the podcast Call Her Daddy. I can't wait to see that, because Alex Cooper, who is the co-founder with Sophia Franklin, I just can't wait to see what Alex Cooper's response to this whole thing is going to be, because Sophia has been silent and Alex Cooper has made millions of dollars from the podcast Call Her Daddy. Our next topic, conspiracy theory. The biggest conspiracy theory that's been going around on TikTok right now is all about Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. You know, so many people are talking about how Rain Disick is the child of Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. And what happened was Rain Disick was supposed to be sacrificed, and instead, Selena Gomez gave up her own life to save the baby, and Justin Bieber had to watch. And this is why Justin Bieber has been really tormented and having all these issues ever since. No one's stating a really specific year this happened. I've been seeing things like 2020. I've been seeing things like 2018. But basically, this has been like the big conspiracy theory all around Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, is that she had sacrificed herself to save Rain Disick, ended up being taken by the Kardashians, and Hailey Bieber is aware of all of this, and that's why she allows him to kind of have like the mental breakdowns that he does. So have you fallen down that TikTok rabbit hole of those conspiracy theories? Because when you hear them get into the details and the specifics of it, it does kind of sound a little believable, because like, let's be honest, Selena Gomez does not look like or talk like Selena Gomez. And the perfect example is she's taller than Benny Blanco, and Benny Blanco is the same size as Justin Bieber, and Selena Gomez was never taller than Justin Bieber. She was very short. Justin Bieber's like 5'9", and Selena Gomez I think was 5'5". So she was like 3 inches taller than me. Maybe 4 inches taller than me. I'm short. But February gave us the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl unintentionally gave us 2 halftime shows, whether we wanted it or not. But for our next event, Maya Hawke, she got married. That was not on my radar at all. That was like the biggest surprise. And she got married on Valentine's Day. So, and they had quite a strange gathering. And by like strange, I mean the Stranger Things cast showed up, except for Millie and Noah. Those were the exceptions to the rule. Now, my favorite thing that happened all month, we got the preview of The Devil Wears Prada. Okay, you guys know how I feel about this movie. If you don't know how I feel about this movie, I absolutely love this movie. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, like, this is a comfort movie for me. Like, I'm flying on an international flight. This is the movie I'm picking. This is my comfort movie. So did I watch the preview? Yes. Did I love it? Absolutely. Is my bar for this movie really low? Yes, because I really don't want to be disappointed. I'm planning on loving it at this point in time. I can be critical about it later. That's my opinion. Anyways, but you know what? I'm just excited to see Anne Hathaway. I'm excited to see Emily Blunt. I'm very excited to see Meryl Streep. Anyways, now let's not forget. And you know what? Just when you think February has graced us with so many wonderful things, it gave us a little promo of The Summer I Turned Pretty. You know, the movie. The movie. There was a little bit of a clip like that. Anyways, we know this. Now, another huge moment on TikTok. I'm sure I'm going to not say this correctly, but Punch the Monkey. Yeah, I totally am not saying that correctly. But Punch the Monkey has gone viral on TikTok. It's a baby Japanese, like, little monkey. But there is a zoo in Japan, and this tiny little monkey has become an internet star after a series of, like, heart-tugging videos went viral in early February. He was abandoned by his mother as an infant and raised by zookeepers. And when he was introduced to the larger troop, he struggled to connect with other monkeys. So caretakers gave him a plush toy orangutan for comfort. I mean, if you saw this cute little monkey carrying around his orangutan, like, stuffed animal, adorable. So there's clips of him like hugging this little toy as he explores, eats, and even like when he's running back to it after like a scary moment. It has captured, okay, everybody is watching this. Everyone has fallen in love with this cute little monkey. And I finally saw a video the other night. This little monkey has finally gotten a hug from another real monkey, and not just from his cute little like orangutan. But this is where I'm like, you know what? We have hope for humanity. Like when we can all be united, that this poor little monkey just needs some love. And then, you know what? I know his name's not Punch. I'm sure it's probably something so much like cuter pronounced, but you know what? Like me and my inability to pronounce anything correctly, I'm gonna call him Punch the Monkey. So anyway, so wrapping up this lightning round, Milan Fashion Week is happening in, well, Milan. And wow, Italy has had a lot going on from the Winter Olympics to now Fashion Week. Good for them, booked and busy. And then finally, there's another new season of Love is Blind, and I have not yet convinced myself to watch it because I have heard a lot of trash about it, and I don't know if I'm ready to get invested just to find out about more trash. Anyways, and for our last topic, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, the saga never ends. But they do show up to a courthouse dressed very similarly, which what are the odds of that happening? But let's just say there might be another episode coming up very soon, doing a little bit more of a deep dive into Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and some parallels with the alleged silent feud between Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo. But there will be more on that later. But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking all things pop culture for the month of February. It was a crazy month. It was the shortest month, but it was the craziest month. Anyways, thank you so much. So I'd love to connect with you more. You can connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Let's Unravel Pod. If you enjoyed this week's show or the podcast show in general, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now Facebook. Your comments and 5-star ratings go a very long way. And also, please don't forget to hit subscribe or follow wherever you might listen to stay up to date on all new episodes. We release new episodes every single Thursday, and you are not going to want to miss a thing. Well, it's that time of the episode to tell you, what kind of phone would I have if I didn't have an iPhone? You know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I had always wanted a BlackBerry. I grew up in middle school. I was in middle school when the BlackBerry was huge. It was super popular. It was the coolest thing in the world. You were so cool if you had a BlackBerry. And at the ripe age of 13, I needed to know if anybody was emailing me. Was anyone emailing me? No, probably my best friend from the 7th grade. But besides that, no one was emailing me. But let's just say my older sister and brother both had a BlackBerry, and that was the phone I desperately wanted, even though there was no reason for me to actually have a BlackBerry. Because a BlackBerry was supposed to be for the people, BlackBerries were supposed to be for the business people. I don't know, but they were just really cool. I really wanted a BlackBerry. Never got a BlackBerry. And then the BlackBerry just totally disappeared. What happened to the BlackBerry? Anyways, but the iPhone ended up standing the test of time. So 1,000 songs in your pocket, which isn't even true anymore because iPhones, you can have so many more songs. But anyways, I was so jealous of anybody that had a BlackBerry. So let me know what your thoughts are. What kind of phone would you have if you couldn't have an iPhone? Any kind of phone whatsoever. Probably preferable if it could fit in your pocket. But then again, you know what? This is your life. Live it how you want. Anyways, that's all. I'll talk to you later. Bye.